All right, guys, we're talking about spring fragrances today that are on the budget. This is a collection of fragrances that are unisex, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Everything is timestamp tagged as well. And if you're in the market for any of these fragrances, you're going to be able to buy them. But before I talk about the fragrances, if you haven't found out yet, we have just announced ScentFest SF, and I hope you can come take part in it. It's a new consumer-focused trade show for fragrances, so people like you can come and experience brands, discover new brands, new houses, and fragrances, and then also take part in interactive and experiential types of booths that we're setting up in the trade show. So if you're willing to discover and meet some of the brands I speak about, it's a great way to discover them at our trade show happening on June 26, 27, and 28. So please click the link in the info box and head over there to discover all about ScentFest SF. And now let's start the fragrances. So let's get started with the list of fragrances. This is unisex. I do want to say one more thing, but this is in regards to the fragrances. I actually put the prices together all before I shot this video. So I double checked to find these fragrances, and the prices I'm going to say right now are the prices that I saw before I shot the video. So if the prices change, unfortunately, I have no control over that. If there's no more stock, I unfortunately do not have any control over that as well. I apologize, but this is what I found right now. These are some great prices. If you see them still selling, take advantage of them before they run out. Okay, let's get started. First, we're going to talk about Angel Schlesser's Sensual Patchouli. It's a unisex offering, and it's also fairly discounted, 100 ml for $26. It's a woody, earthy fragrance, so it's going to be a bit deeper, but this is not super thick, so it's a great, long-lasting, thin-wearing fragrance. Although patchouli is not thin, some people also think it's too strong, but the way this one wears is long-lasting. It goes on throughout the day, but it doesn't overwhelm, and it's also super sexy. It's kind of a green-leaning patchouli. This is the bottle right here, Sensual Patchouli, and it's unisex targeted. It's earthy, it's woody, it's sparkling, and very, very sexy, I think. If you're looking for a cheap patchouli, inexpensive patchouli that you can wear day in and day out, this is it. It's a unisex offering, and I highly recommend it for $26 for a tester or $34 for full presentation with the box. Why would you need the full presentation when you can just get the bottle, right? Because it's so cheap, it's inexpensive, and it smells great. I should also say it kind of reminds me a little bit of fragrances like Vetiver Patchouli from Montal, Orage from Louis Vuitton, Tempo from Diptyque. So it's kind of in that line of greenish leaning patchouli, so not chocolate cakey and things like that. Let's go to the house of Calvin Klein. It's CK1 Essence. Now this has gone down in price so much. It's extremely cheap. It's inexpensive, I should say. I don't like that word cheap, but you know, cheap means inexpensive. You can afford it, kind of, right? But it also makes it sound like it's not quality, but it is. It's a super intense take on the very popular CK1, but it's kind of given the cool, crisp, metallic effect. It comes off a bit screechy, but it has that cooling, you know, metallic steel-like presence, but it reminds you of the original CK1. It's 100 ml for $37. That's a great price for this. If you're looking for a better performing CK1, because it has gotten reformulated, it is much thinner now, I would go for this. But just keep in mind, this is, as I said, a lot more metallic. It's a bit more screechy, and the color of the bottle, this kind of steel-like silver, is how it wears. It's super cold, and I think when it's warm, it'll be perfect. So it has gotten the intensity because it's a parfum concentration, so it's extra and it's longer lasting, and just a more intense version of the original CK1. Unisex offering, very popular, long-lasting, not long-lasting as in the performance of the fragrance, but it's been around for 30 years. I think this CK1 Essence launched 30 years after the original came out in 1995. And yeah, it's been around for 30 years. So CK1 Essence, it's 100 ml for $37. Really great price. Let's move on to the house of Hermes on Jardin on Mediterranee. One of my favorites in the Jardin collection. And I really love it in the spring, whereas Un Jardin sur le Nil is more summer, I think. I love the on Mediterranee for spring. And also because I love the Mediterranean. I was born in the Mediterranean, and I love the coastal Mediterranean, environment with citruses and fig trees and flowers and things like that, and that's kind of what you have here. It's a very citrusy, floral, fruity take on green figs. Smells fantastic, created by Jean-Claude Elena, and it was a love at first sniff when I first sampled that, and I really love it. And I recently bought this. I featured it in one of my discount fragrances videos. I bought a tester for about 50 something dollars. Right now, the cheapest I can find is $75 for 100 ml. But if you like fig, a floral, fruity kind of fig, I would really take advantage of this one and get it. I think it's also perfect for warmer days because that is an eau de toilette. So it's kind of lighter. So leave it for the warmer days. But when you smell it, when you put your nose to it, it's just a really gorgeously beautiful smell. Really love that fig fragrance. And sometimes I get bored of it, but I've come back to it and really enjoying it. So that is Hermes en Jardin en Méditerranée, 100 ml for $75. So there's going to be different sizes here within the collection of fragrances I'm going to talk to you about. So sometimes a fragrance might not be as good of a deal if it's a 50 ml, but I am highlighting this one because I really love it, and it doesn't really go much lower than this. It's a 50 ml, and that's the only size it comes in. It's from the house of MALIN and GOETZ. It's strawberry. It's unisex, and thinking that it's strawberry, it doesn't act kind of young girlish. It's like a more mature and not childish strawberry, and it's a bit on the green side, but it does have the fruitiness, and it also has a muskiness, and it smells great in warmer weather, but I think springtime would be appropriate for this one. Really love the way it smells. And on skin, it's super sexy. And you've got that greenness, the fruitiness, and muskiness. Like there's like ambroxan type of muskiness in the base notes. So if you've ever eaten strawberries that have not ripened too much, there is that kind of a unripened green taste to it with the fruity that's trying to, intensify as it gets fruitier. That's kind of what I get with this fragrance. But what I love about it is the muskiness and the dry down. And even though it's an eau de parfum, but I wouldn't say this is super duper intense. So anybody that's into kind of musky fragrances definitely would appreciate this one if you like that kind of fruity green twist as well. Oh, it was like I was at a store in Montreal called Etiquette. Did they close down, by the way? I thought that I read somewhere that they were going out of business. Is this true? But anyway, I was there. It was really hot in July of like 23. And I smelled it in that store, and I instantly had to have it because in the heat, it really shines. But I am featuring it here in the springtime. It does have a little depth with the muskiness. So that's MALIN and GOETZ Strawberry, 50 ml for $71. Normally, it's like $115 for that suggested retail price. So it is discounted. And it's under $100 because I wanted to make sure this video, the fragrances are all under $100. So let's move on to the house of Guerlain next. It's from the ACQUA Allegoria collection. This is Nerolia Vetiver, and this is a 125 ml bottle for $48. So Neroli is the citrus floral note, Vetiver, that kind of grassy, woody, earthy note. So it starts off fresh, floral, citrusy, develops into this kind of earthy, woody, grassy note, aromatic in presence. Once again, we'll leave it for the warmer days, but I think the vetiver in this should give it some depth because it is all citruses up top. Fresh, sweet, soapy, clean, floral, citrusy, as I said, but it develops into that kind of grassy, earthy woodiness, the aromatic characteristic of the vetiver. And the vetiver here, it's Guerlain, so don't think you're going to smell like Guerlain's vetiver for men. It's not that kind of a deep, rooty, earthy, aromatic vetiver. This is more lighter. As I said, it's a bit more grassy, and like dry grass is what I'm basically picturing, where it kind of takes on the smell of light woods and things like that. But a great scent, very fresh, clean, soapy, sweet, Nerolia vetiver. Great price, because that's like probably like $200 for that bottle, suggested retail, maybe just under 200. But oof, it smells so good. $48 for 125 ml. Totally worth it. Now I'm featuring this fragrance here. This is the Atelier Cologne, which again, uncertainty about this brand and how they're doing I had reported that I saw them in China. I actually visited a store in Beijing and in the mall, but they haven't really sold fragrances in the States since like 21, I think. But there's fragrances in the discounters, and you can get a bottle of Love Osmanthus in a 200 ml bottle size like this. This is a 200 ml for 62 bucks. So Love Osmanthus is a very fresh, fruity floral featuring Osmanthus. And Osmanthus is this flower that's sweet and fruity, has that kind of apricot-y stone fruitiness. It does eventually settle to like leather. I don't think they brought out the leather here. It's more the fresh and fruitiness of the flower. But in the end, it's very fresh here, clean, fruity, and of course floral, because you got that. But there is a light tea-like effect in here as well that I pick up. But there's a very joyful, happy scent about it. The fruitiness, I think, and the floral touches kind of gives me that kind of an effect, giving it a little bit of a joyful, happy, lazy, kind of a laid-back weekend day kind of a fragrance vibe. It's super, I was going to say the word cute, because there's a little bit of a cute smell about it, but not in a childlike way, just the way the fruitiness smells. Innocent is also another one that comes to mind with this one. But a great price on this, 200 ml for 62 bucks. That is so worth it, especially since it's really difficult to find those fragrances in the States, and they're mostly at the discounters now. But let's move on to the House of AKRO. We've got Infuse and a tester for $67. That's a great, great price for that. And Infuse might come off a bit deeper. Infuse is about tea. It's fruity and also a little bit milky to me, but there's definitely a very, like, I think there's mate in this fragrance. That's what I was trying to think. Mate is kind of green and grassy to me as well, but a bit more like a powdery, grassy characteristic. And you've got that, so it reminds you of tea. It's a bit sweet, it's a bit milky, and very, very cozy. It has some sweetness in it, so maybe perhaps if you're sensitive with your fragrances, perhaps don't wear it when it's really warm, because it does come off a bit deep. It's not super fresh like the previous two fragrances, but there's definitely a really kind of smooth coziness about this fragrance that I quite like. I think at first I wasn't the biggest fan of this, but it's grown on me, and mate can be sometimes a bit challenging because there is a very interesting, unique smell about it. It smells like tea, but there's a slight mustiness about it, and you kind of have that here, but right now my nose is picking up the tea, and it smells super, super relaxed and smooth. So that's Infuse by AKRO. I think it'll be a great scent for spring wear. It's unisex, super cozy. It's slight gourmand-esque touches as well, as I said. The next one I'm talking about is from the house of Maison Margiela. It's called From the Garden, and there's a tester for this at $77. But I think full presentation will be around $80, but a tester is a better deal. You only get the bottle, and these don't come with caps anyway, so you don't have to worry about the cap on this one. This is a fun fragrance. I love it because of the tomato leaves. Although I think this particular fragrance did have the actual fruit experience as well. Let me double check, because there's been an onslaught of tomato leaf fragrances recently, and so this one might have the fruits. Actually, now that I'm smelling it, no. This is more of the green side of the tomato. It's more of the leaves, as I said. But if you've ever grown tomatoes and you've picked them, there's that very distinct smell. It gets on your hands, especially when you're like running your hands against the leaves and the fruit themselves. It's that bitterness, and you have that here, but it's very fresh and green and aromatic, bitter, and great spring experience. I've always mentioned on my videos when I talk about tomato leaves or tomatoes, my dad used to grow them, and one year I came to their house and I saw this whole garden turned into a tomato jungle. Like the tomato plants had grown so tall, you couldn't see. It was a pretty big backyard and garden, and it was just like taken over. And that weekend we worked so hard in picking the tomatoes, all of them, and we had baskets, and they were the small, really delicious cherry tomato variety tomatoes, and we picked them all weekend long. Then they got chopped down and you could see the whole garden. I remember that. My dad's not around anymore, but that brings back memories of him and how he loved to plant, especially tomatoes, peppers, and corn, and sometimes like other bell peppers, things like that he planted. But tomatoes were like number one. It's kind of why I love eating them. I love buying the cherry tomatoes and just popping them in my mouth because they taste amazing. And this fragrance from the garden reminds me of that experience. And that's why I love tomato smells in fragrances. So that is from the garden. As I said, it's 100 ml for $77 tester from Maison Margiela. And I think if the testers run out, they do have bottles for like 80 something, $90 something. I think those are right now around $170 for suggested retail price. But the next fragrance I'm talking about is SERGE LUTENS L'Eau d'Armoire. I've recommended this a couple of times. This is selling for 100 ml, 38 bucks. That's a great price. It's a kind of a green, soft, spicy take on something absinthe-like, aromatic. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Artemisia, a little bit of Artemisia and wormwood together. That's kind of what it reminds me of. It's a freshie, but it's super duper aromatic and green. But I wouldn't say it's as green as the tomato leaf fragrance from the garden. It's more of the greenness of herbs. It's spicy, it's soft as in the kind of spice it is. It's not like a cumin or cardamom where it's really pungent. It's a softer spice. It's very aromatic. It's herbal. And yeah, very herbal. And then definitely reminds me of absinthe. Like if you've ever had absinthe or anything that's anisic, licoricey, would experience that. But it is a freshie, and it's also a great price. I think it's discontinued as well. L'Eau d'Armoire, 100 ml, 38 bucks. Really great price, and a beautiful bottle too. Probably it's Christopher Sheldrake, the nose behind that, because he does a lot, if not all, of the SERGE LUTENS fragrances. But that is, like I said, a really, really great price. Take advantage of it. I love the smell too. So that next one is ACQUA di Parma's Colonia, 100 ml for $58. There is a tester for that price. Now this one is an eau de cologne, so if you're into beast mode, maybe stay away from this one. But if you like it fresh and citrusy, a slight bit barbershop-y, it's a unisex offering, but I think it does lean a bit masculine to me. And for me, it's kind of like Nerolia Vetiver, but taking on a bit more of a fougere-like touch. It's classic, it's classy, it's lemony, it's citrusy, it's herbal and aromatic, and very, very fresh. I mean, it's a classic. I mean, I'm sure you've at least smelled it at least once in your lifetime, but if you haven't, it's one of the historic fragrances that I recommend you get your nose on. And you can find discounts on them. The only thing you have to keep in mind that it's an eau de cologne, and eau de cologne are the lightest forms of fragrances unless it's a mist, which I've never bought myself. But eau de colognes are probably the lightest that I buy. And this is not going to be super long lasting, but on a hot day, it's going to be super refreshing. So that's ACQUA di Parma's Colonia, and you can get a bottle for about $58 for a tester. So next, I'm going to feature this one here. It's a unisex. This is the unisex section of the video. This is Thomas Kosmala's No. 4 Apre L'AMOUR. And currently, you can get it for $72 as a tester, or around 80 some dollars for a full presentation. And this is an amber woods bomb. So it's very, very sexy, but it's also a bit minimalistic and not super complex. But complex, it's not, but it is very dense because it's very base heavy. The base notes are super heavy, and you can really experience how dense it is in the base. But very much amber woods, like ambroxan. So it's woody, it's spicy, it's musky and powdery, a little bit aquatic marine thrown in. It's basically emulating the ambergris, but very, very intense. I think amber and woods are super intense in this, but I'm not talking about amber like Grand Soir or Ambre Presso. This is more like molecular amber, emulating the idea of ambergris. But again, it comes off minimalistic, but just be warned, it's very base heavy. So it's dense. It's quite dense. So maybe a little goes a long way, but it's also very, very minimalistic. So that's Thomas Kosmala's Après L'Amour number 4, $72 for a tester, and as I said, 100 ml for $81. I'm going to recommend this next one as well here in this list. It's NIKOS Parfums Sculpture Reverie. So it's a unisex offering. Maybe it might lean a slight bit feminine, but because I think it's rose and cherry, but there's definitely a lot of musk in this. Musk, and it's got a bit of a Middle Eastern twist to it. I almost feel like there's saffron in this, but for me, it's very fruity cherried, but maybe overdosed with a rose as well, and the muskiness and slight animalic funk in there. So this might come off a bit too strong, but the way it smells is great. It really is. It's just basically very Middle Eastern because I'm getting that saffron touch, and that kind of throws in a bit of a leathery edge, but it's got like a, imagine, there's no oud in here, but it's kind of giving me that kind of a vibe. Just think of the oud rose combo with a little bit of a cherry twist. It's a good one. It's not as strong as the Voyage d'Orient from this line, which I think because it reminds me of a milky tobacco vanille, I felt like that was a bit too strong for featuring it in this video. This one, on the other hand, is a little bit fresher because it does have the fruitiness. But that is 100 ml for 48 bucks. So really great deal on that one, under $50. And this one I actually just featured in a video recently. I bought this for around 50 bucks, highly discounted. It's gone up in price. It's $77. It's not a tester. I bought a tester. This is Trussardi's Walking in Porta Venezia. If you pick up the one that I'm talking about, it will not be a tester, so it won't have the notes breakdown on the back. This is very aromatic and spicy, green and a bit minty. And I think we're getting the mintiness from the geranium that's in here. It's quite geranium forward, but mixed with all the aromatics in this, comes off very minty. This one actually, on the other hand, like the previous fragrance, does lean a little bit on the feminine side. This one, for me, leans on the masculine side because of all the aromatics and spicy notes. So it does lean a bit masculine, but it's a unisex offering. But I really fell in love with this one because if you like mint and herbs and spices and green notes, you're going to like this one. It's very aromatic and spicy. So the notes break down: star anise, lemon, black pepper, artemisia, wormwood, geranium, Madagascar, violet leaves, patchouli, fir balsam, cedar, bourbon vanilla. So those are the notes. So it does settle to a little bit of a warmth, but it's all aromatics. It's like a forest, like a pine forest with an overdose of aromatic herbs. Very green. So that is La Vie de Milano, Walking in Porta Venezia. Good price on that one, because I think this collection of fragrances are definitely over 100. This is Trussardi's kind of like upper end private blend like collection of fragrances, highly discounted. So check this one out and check some of their other ones out. But this next one is super duper cheap. This is Acqua Verde from Azzaro. 25 bucks for a 75 ml. Really inexpensive. And this one, again, the previous one was deeper. It's a lot more complex and also not super fresh. But Acqua Verde is very, very fresh. And Acqua Verde, to me, is a fresh green citrus aromatic fragrance. Lemony, a bit tart, a bit sweet, quite aromatic, and very fresh to wear when it's quite warm outside. And 75 ml for 25 bucks is pretty decent price. Now, Azzaro had really awesome fragrances that came in bottles like this back in the early 2000s. Lavender was one of them. They had a vetiver. I wore those so much. I really, really loved them, and I wish they would make them again. They don't. So this kind of reminds me of those a little bit, but it's not like those. This is a bit more citrusy aromatic, as I said, but a very fun fragrance and easy to wear. It's like a dumb reach fragrance. Clean, fresh, and aromatic, spicy. So Acqua Verde from the house of Azzaro. That is 75 ml for 25. And then we're going to talk about Acacappa's Muschio Bianco. So white moss. I always get confused with this moss and musk. So it's white moss. Muschio. This is a fragrance I adore. I've loved so much and I've worn so much. It's clean, mossy, laundry-like, fresh, kind of comes off a little bit aldehydic as well, like fizzy. But if you like fragrances like Blanche from the house of Byredo, you can kind of wear this one. Not identical, but just clean and musky like that, and mossy as well. It's a nondescript kind of a fragrance. It's a grab and go, spritz on after a shower, you smell clean, and you have a fragrance on, but it's not going to overwhelm anybody. It's just going to be part of your, you know, personal musk, and you're going to have this light, clean smell, and it garners compliments, you know. It's not going to be like super projecting, but when people get close to you, they will smell how clean you are. But it's been one of my favorite fragrances for a good 10 years. I really love it, and I have it in my collection all the time. So that is Muschio Bianco from the house of AKKA. I actually found a cap somewhere in the studio the other day, and I was trying to figure out where the heck did that cap come from? I couldn't figure it out. I searched online, couldn't figure out for the life of me. Now I know. It's AKKA. All right, let's move on to the house of 4711. This is Aqua Colonia Intense Awakening Woods of Scandinavia. I recommend this one quite a bit. It was recommended to me by someone on Facebook, and I took a chance and bought it. It's aromatic, woody, spicy, and green. It's a very pleasant, clean, fresh, woody green kind of an offering created by Geza Schoen. So there's aromatic notes in here, the smell of trees and pine and things like that, but very pleasant, great smell, perfect, light, not overwhelming, because it's an eau de cologne, intense concentration, by the way. But one of my favorites from this line, and still selling. Some of them are not selling. This one's still selling and totally worth it. And for that, you're only paying $36 for 170 ml. So that's a lot of juice. This is the 170 ml bottle. But just keep in mind, it's an eau de cologne intense, so it's not like the most intense offerings. Keep them for the warmer days of spring and graduate into summer and liberally spray it on every day of summer. But a great scent. I love it. It's leaning masculine because of all the woods and aromatics and spices, but a woman can totally pull that one off. It's Awakening Woods of Scandinavia from the house of 4711. The next one is from the house of Reminiscence. It's Dolce Riviera. Dolce Riviera is a sweet... Well, what happened was the brand rebranded, and it used to be called Patchouli Blanc, as you can see in the bottom of Dolce Riviera. They changed the name. So white patchouli is basically what it was called before, and now it's called Dolce Riviera. And it's a clean, personal patchouli. So, but there are like sweeter elements, totally different than the sensual patchouli from Angel SCHLESSER. This one is more like their original patchouli that they're known for, Reminiscence is known for. But this does have a cleaner, wider, lighter, kind of a slightly sweet take on patchouli. And I think it's perfect for spring. But this is currently 100 ml for $66, so a great price for that. And I highly recommend that one. I love the line. I'm a big fan of the original Reminiscence patchouli. And there's a lot of their fragrances that I really, really enjoy. And that's kind of an easier take on their classic patchouli, and of course the classic patchouli elixir. So that is 100 ml, $66. Great price for this fragrance because there's normally much more than that. But next we're going to the house of Nishane, and I am featuring this here. It's at the higher end of the under $100, but hopefully by the time this video airs, you can still get it for this price. It's 50 ml for $95 for Ambra Calabria, and it's a perfect spring scent. It's green, it's fresh, it's citrusy, but also vanillic and ambery. One of the most unique smells I've ever put my nose on. I absolutely am head over heels for this fragrance. In fact, it might be my favorite from the house of Nishane. I hope they never discontinue it. But oh my God, I love it. The citruses you pick up, the green notes and the galbanum you pick up, they're nicely blended together. It's fresh, green, herbal, a little bitter, but there's also some sweetness developing. It's the vanilla and the resinous ambery touches in the base. And there's also some spices along the way, maybe some light florals. It's fantastic. So that's a bit deeper for spring, but again, I don't have rules. I don't know, maybe you don't either, but that is such a gorgeous fragrance. Ambra Calabria 100 ml for $95 is a really, really great price. Next, we're going to talk about Sarah Jessica Parker Stash SJP 100 ml for $29. Now, this is a unisex offering. Some people think it's Sarah Jessica Parker. It might be a feminine fragrance. It's not even feminine. To me, this is very masculine. It's a masculine, woody, kind of a creamy, woody fragrance. In fact, it leans on the masculine side, and it's super cozy as well. It's called Masoya wood, but to me it acts a bit like sandalwood. I think the creaminess acts very sandalwood-like. It's super cozy, but very, very masculine leaning, I think, because it's a lot of woods, not much flowers, if at all. There's spices along the way. There might even be that pistachio note, but I don't pick up too much of a pistachio presence. But in the end, it's a really awesome scent. One of the best celebrity fragrances ever created, and also masculine leaning celebrity fragrance from female celebrity. But look at the bottle, it's kind of gotten messed up, unfortunately. For a while this was gone, but I'm glad it's back. It's 100 ml for $29. So worth having in your collection, especially if you like, you know, woody fragrances, woody, creamy, spicy kind of fragrances. So that's Sarah Jessica Parker's Stash SJP. Then I'm going to talk about Berdu's Selva do Brazil. This, I don't know what's happened to this brand. I actually met them a long time ago when I went to Aix-en-Provence, like almost 10 years ago. And this was an instant love for me. It's a Petitgrain focused fragrance. And Petitgrain is the bitter orange tree's leaves. Yeah, bitter orange tree leaves. So it's green and it's a bit citrusy, a little bitter, but it also has tonka beans. I love this. It smells like you're breaking into the leaves of the orange tree, and that little lemon that squeezes out from the little oil that squeezes out from there is the smell you're picking up. It's such a great green citrus, but there's a bit more depth about it rather than kind of fleeting citrus only. Great smell. And the design is kind of cool. So that is 100 ml for $53. Great price on that. And I'm featuring this one here too because I recently purchased it, but I'm gonna feature it. It's also at the higher end of the price. It's $90 for 100 ml for L'Orpheline from Serge, Uncle Serge Lutens. And what I like about this is musky and aromatic together. It's really, really great. It's a bit patchouli-esque as well. And to me, the combo is really awesome. It's super sexy. It's great lingering power, but also not super dense. And I mean, I had skipped this one for a long time, and I was at the Serge Lutens section of a department store in Paris like a year and a half ago. And there I smelled it and I was like, why have I skipped this one? It's so good. It's really great. I think this is very sexy. And again, it's great lingering power, but it's not super dense, which is something that might be perfect for some people. But you put it on, you can, you know, it goes on with you all day long. And especially if you put it on your clothes, you'll smell it all day long. The other thing I forgot to mention about L'Orpheline is it's a bit soapy as well. I like that about it. Really awesome scent. Perfect for spring, I think. So that's L'Orpheline from the house of Serge Lutens. And then the last fragrance I'm going to talk about is Polo Earth from the house of Ralph Lauren. This is around 100 ml for $50. And it's a kind of a Mugler cologne-like. So it's clean, it's fresh, citrusy, and citrus floral. It's unisex, very soapy, a bit sweet. Kind of does remind me a little bit of Nerolia Vetiver, but you know, it's not identical. It's slightly different. I think the Nerolia Vetiver, the neroli in that is a bit sweeter. This one is not as sweet as that, but it's a gorgeous smell. Very clean. I think it's kind of like an after shower clean fragrance with all the citruses and citrus floral notes. I like that. If you are a fan of Mugler cologne, definitely check that out. It's unisex. I know Mugler cologne was a bit difficult to get. They have relaunched it, but I don't know if they relaunched it in the States yet. I'm not 100% sure. But that's all I have for you in this section of the video. This is a section of the video for cheapies, for spring fragrances that are inexpensive or cheap. And it's 22 unisex offerings. And let me know your thoughts on these fragrances and add a comment below. What are you wearing this spring? Are you wearing more expensive fragrances? Are you wearing less expensive fragrances? Have you found anything really awesome lately? Do let me know. Add a comment below. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon as well so you'll be notified for future videos. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.